Look at this story in Trudeau's CBC state broadcaster today. Just astonishing. The story, Canada should rethink relationship with U.S. as democratic backsliding worsens. Security experts say, what, rethink our relationship with the United States in favor of whom? China? Should we just ignore the world's longest undefended border and our geographical location? What does it even mean? Although I suppose it's not the world's longest undefended border anymore. Try crossing it if you're not jabbed. But seriously, I'll read more. Former national security advisors, CSIS directors, saying U.S. could become a source of threat and instability. Really? Canada's intelligence community, that's an oxymoron, will have to grapple with the growing influence of anti-democratic forces in the United States, including the threat posed by conservative media outlets like Fox News, says a new report from a task force of intelligence experts. Oh, I get it. So they love America. They all go down to New York to catch some Broadway shows. They all go down to Florida for the sun. But it's the conservative political opinions that they hate. And they don't just disagree with them. They're calling conservative viewpoints dangerous foreign policy threats now. Not China, that actually kidnapped 2 Canadian men and held them for 1,000 days. China, that's about to swallow up Taiwan. China, that's stealing our industrial secrets, stealing things from our biolabs, that's building up its military. No. That's not the threat to Canada. Fox News is the threat to Canada. Let me read. The United States is and will remain our closest ally, but it could also become a source of threat and instability, says a newly published report written by a task force of former national security advisors, former Canadian Security Intelligence Service directors, ex-deputy ministers, former ambassadors, and academics. Members of the group have advised both Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and former Prime Minister Stephen Harper. Now is the time for the federal government to rethink how it approaches national security, the report concludes. Imagine believing that. Imagine writing it and calling it a national security document. These people are just like James Comey and the other crooks down south, except in America, their judicial system works and wrongdoers are occasionally rooted out and brought to justice. Tell me the last time that happened in Canada. The last time that happened when Jody Wilson-Raybould tried to root out corruption from Trudeau and Gerald Butts, who were trying to get their friends at SNC-Lavalin off the hook. It was Jody Wilson-Raybould who was fired, not the crooks. I'll read you some more from this CBC story. We believe that the threats are quite serious at the moment, that they do impact Canada, said report co-author Vincent Rigby, who until a few months ago served as the national security advisor to Trudeau. We don't want it to take a crisis for the government of Canada to wake up. Okay. At least we know this is a liberal document, but he controlled things. He changed the national security apparatus. Trudeau is changing what we look for. We're not looking for terrorists anymore, not Islamic terrorists, not eco-terrorists, whatever. They're looking for truckers now and for U.S. TV hosts. Now let me read. Thomas Juneau, co-director of the task force and associate professor at the School of Public and International Affairs at the University of Ottawa, said that while Canada's right-wing extremism is homegrown, cross-border connections between extremist groups are alarming. There are growing transnational ties between right-wing extremists here and in the U.S. The movement of funds, the movement of people, the movement of ideas, the encouragement, the support by media, such as Fox News and other conservative media, he said. What extremists? The only ones they seem to mention are the peaceful trucker protests, where every single allegation of violence turned out to be false. He pointed to State Senator Doug Mastriano's recent win in the Republican primary for governor of Pennsylvania. Mastriano is a well-known proponent of the lie that election fraud caused former President Donald Trump's loss in 2020. There are serious risks of democratic backsliding in the U.S., and at this point, that is not a theoretical risk, Juneau said. So all of that is a serious threat to our sovereignty, to our security, and in some cases to our democratic institutions. We need to rethink our relationship with the United States. So because some Republican that these liberals don't like won a primary election democratic institutions are at risk because the election didn't go the way the liberals wanted. And the CBC says, they just assert that it's a lie, L-I-E, that there was an election fraud. Not that it's an error, not that it's an opinion, not that it's a matter contested. They have decided it's a lie that there was election fraud in 2020. Was there election fraud in 2020? I mean, surely there was some. There always is in a large nation. That's quite some. It is a lie that there was election fraud against Trump. Is this a news report or a Democratic Party talking points? It's so weird. The word Fox News, by the way, is in this CBC story 7 times. I checked. During the convoy protest, Fox host Tucker Carlson, whose show draws in millions of viewers each night, called Trudeau a Stalinist dictator on air and accused him of having suspended democracy and declared Canada a dictatorship. Now, you might think that that's a bit much. I might have, until Trudeau brought in martial law, seized bank accounts without legal process, deployed riot police with guns to clear out unarmed peaceful truckers, shot our reporter Alexa in the leg.
Take care. Bring her out. Come on.
Yeah, I think Stalinist is strong, but I can see it. I can understand it. But look at what they're saying here. Because Tucker Carlson called Trudeau Stalinist because he said that about our prime minister, our precious one. So Tucker Carlson is therefore a military and security risk to Canada. So Canada needs to, I don't know, to get Stalinist on him, I guess. It's just crazy on top of crazy. Let me read more. Calls for new national security strategy. When we think about threats to Canada, we think about the Soviet military threat. We think about Al-Qaeda. We think about the rise of China. We think about the war in Ukraine. All of these are true, but so is the rising threat to Canada that the U.S. poses, said Juneau. Actually, there is no more Soviet Union, so I think he's wrong saying that the Soviets form a threat. That's completely new. That calls for a new way of thinking and a new way of managing our relationship with the U.S. Yeah, I don't like Tucker Carlson, so let's build a new military security spy strategy around our TV pundit tastes. That was an excerpt from my daily TV-style show called The Ezra Levant Show. Each weekday, I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview a fascinating guest. I read some fan mail or hate mail, depends on which I like more, and we end with a video of the day. You can get it all at rebelnewsplus.com.